Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular board meeting of the Mississippi Achievement School District. Today is February 15th, 2024, and the time is now 5:30 p.m. The meeting is now called to order. The agenda is before you. The agenda is approved. We'll move on to number 3, approval of minutes for the special call meeting held on January 4, 2024, and the regular meeting held on January 18, 2024. The minutes are approved. All right, we scroll on down to discussion action, the discussion action item, and I'll ask Dr. Brown to introduce the item, and Dr. Austin will discuss the additional components to this particular board item for modification of the board policy. Dr. Brown.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Dr. Watkins. We're asking for approval for item 4.1, which is a board policy revision to ABB, board powers and duties. This policy in section MM allows us to expend federal funds and any other available funds as designated for salary incentives, salary supplements, paying training and educational expenses. Dr. Austin will now speak to the methodology and what those funds will be used for.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And before Dr. Austin begins, I'll ask Mr. Dixon, if you would please open that particular item and scroll all the way down to the additional procedures. Yeah, keep going on down. All right, it'll be the next one. Keep going. There it is. All right, Dr. Austin.
Good afternoon, Dr. Watkins. In collaboration with our district leadership team, I am proposing this teacher performance incentives for ELA math, science, and U.S. history teachers, which will include inclusion teachers as well as self-contained teachers. Through the use of Title II funds and School Improvement 1003A funds, the performance pay program will provide incentives directly to teachers based on the spring to spring achievement gains of students in a tested area, which are English, math, science, and U.S. history. This means that student performance is measured based on their spring 23 scores and spring 24 scores comparatively. ELA and math teacher incentives payout will be determined based on the number of points each individual student attains in ELA and math on their assessment. Each point correlates to a specific dollar amount. Each teacher has the ability to receive up to $2,000, which will be paid out directly to the teacher during or before the December payroll. Third grade reading teachers, if you'll scroll up a little bit more, Mr. Dixon. Third grade reading teacher incentives, they'll be incentivized based on the percentage of students they have passing the test, passing on the initial test. So that means the first time that each student takes that test, well, when they take that test, the teacher's incentive will be based on the percentage of students that pass at the first time. We will also be using this same scale with inclusion teachers. Inclusion teachers will be paid based on the percentage of their students that meet their growth that has been set at the beginning of the school year for each individual student. And self-contained teachers will be incentivized based on the percentage of their students who are advanced or proficient on the MAP-A assessment.
And Dr. Austin, I want to make sure that we're clear. Scroll back up, Mr. Dixon. That incentive methodology is for English, math, and third grade retesters in that first set. I thought I only heard third grade retesters. I want to make sure that we were clear there.
Yes, sir. Third grade retesters. That includes students who did not pass. That did not pass last year, as a third grader, and had been retained for third grade, and they're third grade again this year. So those students that meet growth, the teachers will also be incentivized for those students as well.
Thank you very much. Let's scroll on down. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Thank you, Dr. Austin.
The next table speaks to the incentives for biology and U.S. history teachers. We know that students in 5th, 8th grade science, biology, and U.S. history, those specific areas don't have previous data to show growth. So in those specific areas, science, biology, and U.S. history, those students have to attain a level of proficiency or advanced, and teachers are incentivized per student that attains each level. Several things were taken into under consideration when we were calculating the amounts for the incentives. The first is that we know that ELA and math are the only content areas where students grade 3 through 8 are tested every year to determine a student's growth. So they have previous year's data for us to use to compare if the student is actually growing or not. Growth for English 2 and Algebra 1 is determined using their 8th grade ELA and math scores in those specific areas. In science and U.S. history, again, those students only have that particular year that they take those specific tests. So they have to attain a level of proficiency or advanced in order to show growth, to demonstrate growth in those particular areas. Third graders demonstrate their growth by actually passing the assessment on the initial time that they take the test. And finally, our SPED and self-contained students represent a small population in each school compared to the number of teachers, the number of students that general education teachers are teaching each day in ELA and math. So we determined that using that same third grade initial pass rate score, the methodology there would be better for our self-contained teachers and our inclusion teachers. Now, we do have stipulation to the incentives. We do have stipulation to those to this particular incentive. The first one is highlighted. Okay, the incentive shall not apply to teachers in any school that is rated an F in the school year, following the state assessments for which this incentive may be applicable. Also, teachers meeting their incentive eligibility requirements will be eligible for a monetary retention incentive as well as funds are available and approved. And also, in order for these teachers to receive this incentive, they must be returning for a full academic year the next school year. Are there any questions?
No, Dr. Austin, there are no questions. And I do appreciate you, Dr. Brown, and other members of the administrative team working on this particular policy in order for us to use the funds that we're receiving to reward our teachers for the excellent work that we know that they're doing and what they're going to produce with our scholars, because we know that our scholars are quite capable of growing to produce growth as well as to perform at proficient and advanced levels. And we want to reward our teachers for that. And just as a reminder, back in December, we rewarded our high school students who achieved proficient and advanced levels on state exams, and we appreciate the hard work that our teachers performed with our students, and we appreciate the hard work of our students. We're still working on that, ladies and gentlemen, to do that again for our high school students. So hopefully we'll be able to make an announcement there. But we are making our announcement now regarding the opportunity for our teachers to be thanked monetarily for the work that they're doing through this revision of the policy and the use of the available funds that we will have for this purpose. So we really appreciate the work of our teachers, and we want to show that we appreciate the work of our teachers through this opportunity. And now we'll go on to the next item, but item 4.1 is approved. under discussion action. And now we'll move on to the consent agenda. And the consent agenda 5.1 and 5.2, under my name, that's approval of Yazoo City District fixed asset items to be removed from the district's inventory. 5.2 is approval of O.M. Macklin Middle School fixed asset items to be removed from the district's inventory. Items 5.1 and 5.2 are approved. We'll now move on to 5.3, and we will start with Mr. Wilson and proceed from there.
Dr. Watkins, at 5.3, we're asking for the approval of Humphreys County High School fundraisers to support the Beta Club competition, which will be held in Biloxi, Mississippi. In 5.4, we're asking for the approval to ratify the Mississippi Achievement School District in the Yazoo City Gear Up Agreement addendum with Delta State University. And that is for Yazoo City, I'm sorry. I think I did say that already. At 5.5, we're asking for the approval to ratify the Mississippi Achievement School District in Humphreys County Gear Up Agreement addendum with Delta State University. In 5.6, we're asking for the approval of Yazoo City High School Portraits fundraiser for our seniors at Yazoo City High School. In 5.7, we're asking for the approval of Larry Summers CTC fundraiser. In 5.8, we're asking for the approval of the Upward Bound Memorandum of Understanding between the Mississippi Achievement School District and Tougaloo College.
Good afternoon again, Dr. Watkins. We're asking for approval in 5.9, the MASD personnel actions that occurred from January 18th through February 15th. Also in 5.10, we're asking for approval of a MASD board policy revision, AFC, authority for emergency closures.
And in 5.11, there's the approval to ratify the list of hearing officers and court reporters.
Item 5.12 is approval to ratify the application submission for the FY 2025 MCOPS grant.
5.13 is the approval of professional service agreement between MASD Yazoo City and the Kirkland Group for third grade ELA support.
5.13 is approval of professional service agreement between MASD and Yazoo City and the Kirkland Group. I'm sorry, approval of professional service between MASD and the Kirkland Group for high dosage tutoring.
And that was 5.14.
5.15, approval of professional service contract between MASD Humphreys County and RL Mac Consulting LLC for third grade ELA support.
5.16 is requesting your approval of the claims dockets for February 15th, 2024. 5.16.1, we have the Yazoo City Region claims numbers 60302 through 60432, totaling $412,145.20. And we have the Humphreys County Region claims numbers 182876 through 182980, totaling $494,062.58.
That completes all items on the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are approved. Item number 6, Ms. Upshaw.
Dr. Watkins, we're requesting your approval of the financial statements for January 31st, 2024. We have the Humphreys County Region financial documents and the Yazoo City Region financial documents. Those documents include our statement of bank reconciliations, our statement of fund balances, our budget status report, our statement of incomes and revenues, our statement of expenditures, and our cash flow report for our district maintenance fund.
And of course, that's for both districts. Item 6 is accepted, received, and approved. That completes all items on our agenda. Once again, all items on the agenda for the board meeting for February 15th, 2024, all items are approved. We're now down at adjournment, item number 7, and we stand adjourned. Thank you everyone for participating in the board meeting for the Mississippi Achievement School District this evening. Have a great evening.